What's up, guys? Part 4, Larry Bird Beyond the Glory documentary. I'll put 1 through 3 in the description because if y'all haven't seen it already. There should only be 2 parts left. This one and the final part, which I'll post next day or two. I love this whole Larry Bird journey I've been going through for the last year or two. Last year, I guess. It's been fun. There's so many videos of him, how good he is, a good person. I love that he's a good person too, and I love how down to earth he is, because that just speaks volumes of the kind of character he really is. Same thing with Magic. I love Magic too because he's a good person too. Uh, yeah. So this is part 4. I'm gonna go back just a hair so that I don't just go straight into where I left off last time. So anyway, let's get to it.
Between the takes, we get a chance to talk. And the dialogue is going great because this is really the first time we got a chance to talk to each other.
We were just sitting there talking about everything in the world instead of basketball.
They couldn't even get us back out on the court to shoot the commercial.
Actually, that day, I see him as Irvin Johnson, not Magic Johnson.
We're in Los Angeles, and I got a pulled hamstring. So I'm not playing tonight. He walks down to me. Man, I'm sorry you're not playing. But he said, I'm going to tell you what. Since you're here, I'm going to put a show on for you. So you just sit back and watch, okay? And I'm like, man, get out of my face, man. I want to hear that. That's Celtics and the Lakers. Every time he hit one, he look at me. Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
They're walking hand in hand into history together. And it's no accident that when Magic announced that he had the AIDS virus, that Bird broke down and cried.
Man, that's tough right there. I know we've seen that before a couple of times, and back then they were talking about it that Larry Bird and Magic, they thought that he would only have like 9 years to live or something like that. Broke their heart when he actually found out he had it. And Larry Bird, man, he was there for him, which is cool. They became pretty good friends, and I bet you that was a hard time, especially back then with not this modern medicine that we have nowadays. Because he lived a very long life, so obviously we got good doctors and medicine now. So I can't imagine what they were going through when he had that at the time. That's tough right there.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
They're walking hand in hand into history together. And it's no accident that when Magic announced that he had the AIDS virus, that Bird broke down and cried, teared up, couldn't talk.
To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
That's pretty cool.
It's been a great honor to be out here. There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick.
Sorry about that, guys. Someone knocked. Go back.
There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick.
Early in his NBA career, Larry Bird's sense of disconnection from his life in French Lick often was expressed in a guarded response to the press.
I was in an elevator with him in Phoenix, and I turned to him and said, "Congratulations on such a good rookie season, Mr. Bird." And he turned away from me. I mean, I scared him. He couldn't deal with someone like me, an outsider who was better dressed, who seemed to represent a world that was threatening to him.
But in time, Bird learned to control the presence of reporters.
The media begs off with Larry because they're very afraid of him. They're afraid to somehow or another infuriate him. They're afraid to ask the tough questions. He somehow or another has that way of intimidating the media as he intimidated players.
He's never said to me at any point in our conversations off the record, and I asked him once about that. I said, well, you know, why don't you ever hold back? Why don't you say off the record to me? He says, I don't care what you write. I don't read it.
Bird's on.
I like that. I don't care what you write. I don't read it. That intimidation factor is definitely from the South. Because the South, like, I don't know, there's just something different. The media just tends to, like, twist the truth or only print what they want to print, and then, like, nothing's truthful about it, or there'll be a kernel of truth, and then they extend some kind of lie around that truth, which media does all the time. So I understand why he was a little hesitant with the media. But yeah, that's definitely from the South for sure, because I don't like the media down here at all.
Off the record. And I asked him once about that. I said, well, you know, why don't you ever hold back? Why don't you say off the record to me? He says, I don't care what you write. I don't read it.
Bird's unwillingness to back down from the media was an extension of his aggressiveness on the court.
Bird fights Kareem, slings the elbow, and now is yelling at Larry Bird.
You could never back down.
Jaw to jaw.
Once you do, people look at you different. You had to stand up for everything you believed in, and even if it's on playing basketball. If somebody took the gloves off and wanted to go, you had to go. If you didn't, there's no use playing.
Bird's hard
Makes
nose
sense.
was never more visible than during a 1984 game with the 76ers when he took issue with Dr. J.
Larry was complaining to the refs, and I was complaining to the refs, and the next time down the court, he got in my face.
I was up 38-6. That's how I summarize it. I don't want to get into the details, but I wasn't happy with the way things were going on.
Only if you knew that Larry Bird was a world-class taunter and provocateur would you understand what happened next.
I felt like he was going to hit me, you know? So my hands went up and his went up, and the next thing I know, we had each other's necks.
Larry Bird is no hit,
Bang.
believe me. Larry.
That's a cold picture right there. That's crazy. It was literal about the having each other's necks, man. Man, I love the fact that Bird doesn't back down, you know, because it's a sign of weakness, and they can push you around if you know, don't do nothing about it. You know, hold your own ground. You know what I mean? If someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, you got to deal with it. You can't just like let it go. You know what I mean? Especially on the court. Now it's a different story on the court.
Bird is no hick, believe me. But you could stick straw between his teeth, and he could play the role, and he could convince a lot of mid-America that he was their boy.
How long have you been playing basketball, Larry?
I started 2 years ago at Indiana State, so I've probably been playing. When I'm 22, I probably played 24 years.
24 years. Okay.
He's street smart. On the front cover of Sporting News, he wore Adidas, and on another magazine, he wore Converse, another one he wore Nike. So he had them all thinking that, hey, we might be able to sign this guy to a shoe contract.
Beyond an acute awareness of his own commercial potential, Bird waged psychological warfare at the drop of a ball.
The '84 Olympic team was playing an exhibition game against a bunch of pros, including Larry Bird, and they were in the warm-ups. And a ball bounced down from the college end of the court to the pro end. And Michael Jordan went down to chase it. The ball happened to be picked up by Larry Bird. And Michael went up a few feet away from Larry Bird and held out his hands. And Bird took the ball and fired it back down the court over Jordan's head, as if to say, you're not only not getting this ball, I don't give a damn who you are. Larry Bird knows exactly who this guy is and what's going to happen in the next few years. And he wants to get every edge he can get right now.
I remember going to Boston Garden for the first time. I couldn't wait to see it, walk on that floor. And I got there 3.5 hours before game time. And the lights weren't even on the court. but I heard a ball bouncing as I was walking through the court, and look who's here 3.5 hours before the game begins, an hour before anyone else would even be in the building other than the popcorn vendor, but Larry Bird.
Larry Bird has always been afraid of failing. And what did that make him do? It made him work harder than anybody else. You know, they talk about Larry Bird practicing in the rain. Larry Bird practicing out by himself all the time, before games, after games. And I think that's the ethic that he brought from that small town environment.
Yeah, that's definitely Larry Bird. Definitely did it. He 24/7. Trying to get an edge and becoming the best basketball player he can possibly be. Getting in people's heads. He's always one step ahead of people. Sometimes 5. He's playing a chess game. Um, but yeah, a true basketball player knows that in order to get good, you play no matter what. You play in the rain, you play in the snow. We played in the snow. I don't know why we did it, but we did anyway. But it does help if you have you lose your balance a lot, but you can still shoot it and it goes in. There's something about that helps a lot. You can it helps with defense, and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. He's definitely one of a kind when it comes to a basketball player for sure. He's a great player. Just great. All around everything.
Rain. Larry Bird practicing out by himself all the time, before games, after games. And I think that's the ethic that he brought from that small town environment and the ethic that he has today.
Averaging 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists in his first 5 seasons, Larry Bird led Boston to 2 NBA titles. In 1986, after helping the Celtics to 67 regular season victories, including a 40-1 home record, he won Finals MVP honors as Boston defeated Houston in 6 games.
It is all over. The Boston Celtics are the world
champions. Didn't even go to game 7.
I think Larry was the mystique. I think Larry was the confidence. The parquet floor and the championship banners didn't mean anything if Larry Bird wasn't on the court with us.
Bird's mystique was never greater than in Game 5 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit. With the series tied at 2 games apiece and the Pistons holding a 1-point lead and the ball with 5 seconds to go, Bird came to the rescue.
Dude, that was one of the greatest plays ever. Not really plays, I guess, defensive plays ever, because can you imagine being Isaiah Thomas and passing it in straight to Bird like that, and Bird just comes out of nowhere, I couldn't imagine that, and they win. He passes to Dennis Johnson, I think. I couldn't imagine being Isaiah Thomas in that situation, because all you had to do is pass it in. That's wild. That's one of the greatest defensive plays ever.
He was just very smart, and he was tough enough to hang in the game and grind you out and grind you down. I mean, you knew it was coming. You just didn't know where, how, and when.
His tenacity, his will to win. He never gave up. And that's what I admire most about Larry.
Bird's 24th quarter points in a showdown with Atlanta's Dominique Wilkins in Game 7 of the 1988 Eastern Conference semifinals was not a sign of things to come. The Celtics lost in the next round, and Bird would not lead them that far again. Plagued by a bad back and other injuries, Bird missed 142 games in his final 4 seasons.
Jeez, that's a lot of games. It sucks. It really sucks that he only played 13 seasons, because he could have done so much more too. If he played 15, 16, even 20, man. They wouldn't be talking about LeBron anymore. They'd be talking about Bird if he played 20 seasons without being hurt.
Bird is hurt. Down
goes down, and he's hurt.
The lengths that this man went through. He dives on the floor for a loose ball, bangs his head, has a concussion. He's sitting in the locker room with the team physician, Arnie Scheller. And Arnie said, you know, Larry, you've done all you could. It's been a great run. You know, you're not going back out there. And Larry said, no, you're right, Arnie. I'm done. And then he looked at Arnie and waited till Arnie's attention was gone for a moment. And he got up, he went back out, and of course, they won the game.
Out of the pages of Willis Reed.
I didn't hear that part of the story. That's pretty cool. They were saying, like, you know, you're pretty much done. You've done all you can do. And he wanted to prove him wrong. Let's win this game. He came out there and won the game. That's pretty awesome. Very awesome. That concludes part 4. I didn't really talk much. I'm very tired. But, yeah, that was awesome. Larry Bird's a different animal when it comes to, like, his work ethic and trying to be the best. You know what I mean? Man, I love watching him, anything about him, because it's different. You don't see very many basketball players like him at all, and he's just great. I've grown to love him as a player and as a person, and I'm glad he's still alive. So that's cool. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.